And look at somebody that's sitting next to you and say, not an accident.
Not an accident.
Breaking of stagnation.
Yes.
Removing frustration. I was talking to the Lord about this setting when the conference called and dealing with this piece, because Mother said something about being transparent. And I don't want to sound like the spoiler, but I believe in being real. Amen. I mean, sometimes we use all these words like shifting, transition, and empowerment. But in the midst of saying all those words, we are struggling with the process. Now, I need some real folk now. Look at the neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be real. Because as God was talking to me, he says now, to talk in this sense, we've got to settle the debate. Because many of us need to understand that God is doing something in our lives, but we are in argument with it. Is there anybody here know God was moving, but you was in debate with it? I don't know who I'm talking to, but I got to be real. But sometimes as saints, we need therapy. And when I look at what God was saying, and we've been talking about all these words, and they sound so awesome. But it's dangerous to have a vocabulary and can't function in it. When we talk about shift, change, opposition, redirection, we talk about transition, realignment. But even today, we've been talking about empowerment, using worship, season. And when I began to hear God said to me, empowerment simply means authorize, giving authorization, providing resources that brings motivation, brings innovation. And I don't know about you today, but I'm excited because when I heard God say he wants to authorize us, he has authorized us. How many of y'all know the storm should not change your authority? Come on. Now, I'm from the country, and when I began to ask God, I got talking about shifting, realigning, we're talking about empowerment, and I just need a picture, because when we talk about shifting or God repositioning us, and I just said, if you're real, the shift and reposition is not always in agreement with our spirit. Amen. And we've got to settle the debate. And so this really quick passage, I'm almost through preaching, but in the rule, we kind of grew up with this thing that is known as a standard transmission. The cars weren't automatic. We had to drive a standard. Now, it's not like today you got these standard transmission and they got shift lights. They got lights that come on to you when the shift. When the change get. But when I grew up, the old standard transmission really worked you, because in the standard transmission, you had to engage the clutch. Come on. So if there is a shifting going on, I suggest the first thing is you got to learn how to engage the clutch. And in this sense, we talk about engaging the word. And also in the old standard, you have to engage the clutch, and you have to be attentive, because you made the shift by the sound of the engine. If the engine started to kind of lug a little bit, you know it was time to go into another gear. So you just couldn't wait for a light. You had to be able to hear. Now the engine was under distress. The engine needed you to engage the clutch. You have to be attentive. And all that, in dealing with a standard transmission, the old ones, you have to be sensitive to how you use the clutch. Because if you was on an incline, if you jump out the clutch too quick, car go dead and stop rolling. And if you're going forward, you have to kind of ease on the clutch to move forward. What are you saying? I'm saying today that many of us are missing the move of God because we don't know how to engage his word and be sensitive to what he is doing. And we become aggravated because we are not attentive to the move of God. And that creates a debate in our mind. And God cannot get you your destiny if there's a debate going on. And so when we are in shifts and transformation, God realigning us, there's two things that directly bother us in the midst of the shift, and that is being fearful and impatient. So now, as I circle the rags and close this off, there's a passage in Matthew chapter 14, and I don't know about you, but when I'm going through, I have to get some therapy from the Word. Amen. Because I've learned in life, emotions only carry you so far. You got to get a word in you. And when I read this, I'm going to just kind of paraphrase this thing real quick because my time is, if I had more time, I'd deal with it. But in Matthew chapter 14, there were some therapeutic things that came to me because I was finding myself in debate. Yes, I'm praising God, but I don't understand what's going on. I'm declaring things, but I ain't seeing nothing move in the right direction. It seemed like the more I call on, the more chaos. And then I got to church, and some folk I thought had together were worse off than me. And so when I got there, I said, now God, you got to get me. I need some therapy. I'm going to draw on a couple pieces from it. But when I begin to look at this, in Matthew chapter 14, there's this thing, and I'm going to talk about the one when there was, he had 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, and what messed me up was, the Bible said there was a small lad with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And sometime when we're going through major shifts and transition, we forget that God can do something awesome in our lives. Because sometimes we're going to transition to the spirit of feeling insignificant. Feeling like God has left you. But I want to tell you today that I'm so glad the times you feel insignificant, that's when God can do the greatest miracle. Yes, this small lad in the midst of a multitude might have seemed insignificant, but here God took these 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. It's my high five. I said, thank God. He has used me. It's an insignificant moment. Sometimes I thought I was out of place. Sometimes I didn't have it together. But in those insignificant moments, I was able to see the power of God. I get excited because it bothered me because I'm almost through now. There was a multitude, but he found the small lad. Yeah, I don't want to mess y'all up. Some of y'all want to be big and don't understand the power of being small.